You know what, Sam?
What?
The state fair comes to town and the Hurricanes are headed out of town.
Yes, they are. Boy, I never get tired of that intro, Sam. Okay. Uh, we're back with another episode of the Caniac Report. And Sam, we finally got a win under our belt. Unfortunately, it wasn't our home opener, but we did kind of redeem ourselves in the second game, which to me was big.
Yes, we needed a win. Got the win. You're getting ready to go on the road. You only have one more home game this month. And you wanted it to go out on a high note. So you got your win. We needed the win despite your cursed jersey being at the game.
Hey, okay, you watch it. Well, I wore this Jarvis jersey against New Jersey, and guess who scored one of the goals? Jarvis, for the record.
It's because I was wearing my Svechnikov jersey.
No, it wasn't. Don't give me that. Although wasn't it? I think it was Fetch that passed it to Jarvis. But we'll get to the game in our last half of the episode. But Sam, uh, some podcast stuff here. We have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate, you can do so. The link to donate us is in all of our episode descriptions. And let's get to, and that's kind of it for podcast stuff. But league wide stuff, Sam. I do want to talk about one thing. I know we mentioned it before, but the same night the Hurricanes won, fantastic night for Hurricane fans. But that same night, it was emotional for some fans, and I'm talking about the fans and the family of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yep.
I just before we actually got on, Sam, I actually watched the full tribute video for Johnny Gaudreau. It was a tearjerker.
Yeah.
I saw the head coach at points, Dean Evanson. He was crying. The players were crying. The mom was crying. Everybody was crying. But it was a great video, Sam. Really was.
It's just it's a tragedy that this happened, and it'll definitely shadow over the Blue Jacket season. It'll shadow over, or probably the whole season in the league this year, because it's just a horrific thing for that to have happened. And that's all, thoughts and prayers with that family, because that's not something that's just going to go away for them.
No, it really isn't. Death is a hard thing to swallow. It really is. And prayers and thoughts are definitely with the Gaudreau family, like we said before, and the Columbus Blue Jacket organization and the teammates and friends associated with the Gaudreaus. So, but that was just an amazing tribute video Columbus did. And Sam, the first 13 seconds, Columbus went out on the ice without a left winger. So
Yep,
you can tell that I thought that was pretty amazing when I saw that.
Agreed.
But now we're going to get to some other news, Sam, and this is all on goalies. Like, goalies keep coming up in NHL news. One that happened earlier this week, I actually found this a little bit surprising, but Detroit waived Ville Husso.
Yep.
And I thought that was a little bit shocking, but Yzerman, he's a bold guy, and we'll see how Husso does. He already cleared waivers.
Yeah.
So no one grabbed him. But, I think this is a guy that can come back up in the NHL, Sam, and be a decent goalie.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked he wasn't claimed. So he just probably struggled out of the gate. Yzerman doesn't have any patience right now for an ability to perform. So he got sent down, and now it's just time to see what he can do. So he'll get a chance in the minors, I'm sure. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, he got waived. And I think that should put on notice for a lot of players on that roster that, hey, you might think you're safe. You're not safe.
Yes, it really should. No, they definitely are not. So the goalies that on former Carolina Hurricane.
I didn't hear a word
Alex
you
Lyon's
said.
been pretty decent for Detroit.
I didn't hear a word you said. You cut
Oh,
out
did I
for
break
about
up?
you cut out for about 5 seconds.
I did. I'm sorry. Well, the goalies that remain in Detroit, Sam. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The goalies that remain are Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon, former Carolina Hurricane. And Alex Lyon, he's been doing pretty good for Detroit, so he definitely has deserved to be a part of the
Mm-hmm.
organization for
He's been
Detroit.
successful wherever he's gone, really, as a solid potential backup guy.
Yes, I completely agree there. And another thing too, this is a little bit older news, but Ottawa did sign a huge extension with Linus Olmark, $8.25 million contract. It's a 4-year extension, and Ottawa's looking to get better, Sam.
Yep.
So we'll see how that contract does for them.
Yeah, Ottawa's looking to take that step. Some people think they'll take it. Some people think they won't take it. But we'll see what happens. Allmark was a must need for them to potentially even take that next step.
Yes, and another goalie. This came out today, Sam, and that was Jake Ottinger, who got massive extension with Dallas, an 8-year, um, eight 8-year contract. I know that that's all I put down apparently in our show notes. But it was around $8 million.
I can look.
Yeah, $8.25 million contract.
You got it?
Yep,
8.25?
I got it.
Okay, I would say I could check Elliot Friedman. I'm sure he tweeted it out today. But yeah,
But I mean,
8.2.
I think Ottinger is worth that money. He's a very good goalie.
Yeah, he's an excellent goalie. Deserved the pay. I'm just going to say this too. If those are the goalies, those are the top goalies right now. I hate to tell you, I think Ottinger is equivalent, if not, I think they're very close in ability with Shesterkin.
That's what I was about to say.
So this hurts Shesterkin's bargaining power. He's not going. He should have taken that offer when New York was willing to do. Was it like a 10, 11 million? And if they were, you should have taken that deal because now he's not going to get anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I really wonder now if Shesterkin's going to be able to pull off that type of money when you see a very good goalie in Ottinger getting only $8 million.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Again, I've said it before. I would not pay Shesterkin 12.
I wouldn't either, but I don't know if the Rangers can afford to let Shesterkin go either. So they're in a tough position. The Rangers are.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it for just the
Sam.
league. What?
You forgot another thing that a goalie did the other night.
Oh, that's right. I did. Another goalie piece of news. Philip Gustafson. He scored a goal on an empty net because that's the only thing a goalie can score on, if they can score, is on an empty net. And he certainly did. That was an amazing goal, Sam.
Yeah,
I love seeing that type of goals.
Which I believe both goaltenders for Minnesota have goals. Not this season, but in their career. Marc-Andre Fleury, I believe, has scored a goal. And now Philip Gustafson has scored a goal. So that's just, it's funny. It's always cool to see a goalie goal. And it would not shock me if at some point Kochetkov takes a shot at it.
Well, we know, listen, Kochetkov plays a very aggressive style type of goaltending. So if there's an empty net, which there was the last game, Sam, if Kochetkov decided to do it, do you blame him?
No, he would want to take a shot at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he would. And honestly, if it goes in, I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs going into work the next day, maybe not having a voice. So
yeah, probably same.
Because that would be just epic. But yeah, lots of goaltending stuff that has happened around the NHL as of recently. And now let's get to some Hurricane stuff, Sam. And one of the stuff is the waivers. Hurricanes lately have put 2 players through waivers. Joakim Ryan and Brendan Lemieux both have cleared waivers. Joakim Ryan, I wasn't really shocked about, but I think the player that was really eye-opening was Brendan Lemieux, Sam.
Yeah,
I did not think they would send him down.
Yeah, because not only did they waive him, they sent him to Chicago. So something must be going on there, or they feel that there's a better alternative, or they just want him to get some game action and they want to hold Cap. I'm not sure. The benefit is, regardless, it's Chicago. And a couple of things to know about Chicago: there are two very big airports in Chicago, Chicago O'Hare, and then Midway. If we need to get a player somewhere relatively quickly, it can happen, especially if they're in Chicago. Um, Again, it's not going to be hard to get them out to where we need to go. So I'd rather these guys get some game time action. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Because this year we have a minor league affiliate. Instead of carrying people that aren't playing, we decide, okay, we want you to play. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think we just got used to last year having to have extras because we didn't have a minor league affiliate. We had to kind of figure it out as we went along.
Exactly.
So this works out, I think, well for the player and the team. It's not like we can't get a hold of him if we need to.
Exactly. And I mean, while it sucks to not have Lemieux with the team, obviously, especially on this long road trip the Hurricanes are about to embark on, I mean, just like what you said, it's a pretty accessible area to move to certain places.
Correct. So it's not going to be an impossible thing. So,
and the Hurricanes right now have $1.5 million in cap space with those two assignments. So Hurricanes have some wiggle room right now, but the question is, are they going to do it? I don't think so. That's just me, though.
I mean, it's all dependent on where you are at the deadline. I was talking to our friend at Caniac Sessions because I sat with him at the game, talked to Griff, and I was like, hey, just curious, if the right deal at the right time came around for Orlov, and Scott Morrow was having just lighting it up in Chicago, do you pull the trigger on Orlov and take the deal, especially if it brings you in like a first round pick or a couple seconds? He said he wasn't sure, depended on where we were in the standings. I mean, for me, Sam, now that we have that minor league affiliate where players can get really developed, I mean, I think I'd take that deal. It gets you a bunch of cap space if you wanted to make another move. If there was like another piece, or maybe there's a rental you want to turn into something. So, where if you move Orlov, you create the cap space to get that done. There are a lot of levers this team can pull. So if you're wanting us to go out and get a forward at the deadline, there are a lot of ways this team can make it happen. It does not have to be an accrued cap space. It doesn't have to be because of LTIR. But the goal, obviously, here, I think, is for them to accrue cap space.
Yes, and what's interesting, Sam, Puckpedia also has a projection for deadline cap space, and they have the Hurricanes sitting at $6.6 million. So they could do something with that. They really could.
Yeah, you could go get yourself a depth guy, maybe a top 6 forward, winger kind of thing. And then you could always funnel some of that through another team. Again, it's always dependent on where we are at the deadline. This team is 1-1. We've only played 2 games. There's not a lot you can glean from this. You had a really bad game and a pretty good game. Now we're going to get tested on the road. It's really just like where do we see these trends? This road trip will allow us to see trends. We have a back-to-back this week, and I think that's going to be beneficial for this team to get 2 games under their belts against Pittsburgh and St. Louis. And I think,
in fact, I'll go ahead and bring up the schedule for the road trip, because that's important to talk about, I think.
Yeah, because this is an important road trip. It's going to see what this team is made of, right? It's going to see what our goalies are made of. I think both Kochetkov and Anderson may have allowed a goal they shouldn't have. I think the worst of the two was the Kucherov power play goal against Anderson. I really think he should have had that. This is a back-to-back situation, so let's be very clear. They're both going to play this weekend. Freddie's going to get one. Kochetkov's going to get the other. And then I think whoever plays better on those 2 games is going to play the following game. And I think that's fair.
Completely 100% agree, Sam. So Friday, we're at Pittsburgh. Saturday, we're at St. Louis. Then Tuesday of next week, we are at Edmonton. Sorry, I butchered that. Edmonton, Tuesday. We're at Calgary that Thursday. And then a week from Saturday, Seattle. And then Monday on the 28th is Vancouver. Then we come back home and play the Boston Bruins on the 31st, which is the last game of the month. So it's going to be a heavy road trip, Sam. And I am a little bit cautious about this road trip just because the last big road trip the Hurricanes embarked on wasn't that good.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens. This team is very different than last year.
It is. You could say they've regressed from last year, and we have said that.
We have. I think that's a fair statement. Some people are more high on this team than others. Some people are pretty low on this team. I think you and I have been pretty reasonable in saying I think we're somewhere in the middle. Top wild card, third in the Metro, I think is what we're thinking right now. But it also wouldn't shock us if we finished like second or first, right? If the Rangers or the Devils collapse, it's possible. And I also don't think it's out of this realm of possibility to say this team misses the playoffs. I mean, I think this team there's just so many unanswered questions, and I think this road trip will help answer them. It'll start to show some patterns. Again, I think we need to end this road trip. I used 6 games, right?
6 games. So I think if we can win half, I'm fine.
Yeah, you want to come out of this game at 500 because then your record is 500. And even if you can push a couple of those losses to overtime, you'll come out of it above 500. So if you can come out with there's 6 points, there's 12 points on the table, you come home with 6 of 12, I think you take that as a win. It's probably not what we're used to, but it's all about tampering expectations this season. Again, I like a lot of these players. I do. I really like Roslovic. I think KK's had a very good start to the season. I think Gostisbehere's played really well. I think Walker's played really well. I think we're getting some of these guys that are showing well. Blake's played well. We'll talk about him in a couple minutes. And I want to see what happens when they go on the road because that's the real test, right? They had one game, a couple days off, have another game, and now we had another couple of days off, and now we're going to really pick up space, right? We're going to play 2 games back-to-back, get Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday off, play Tuesday, and then I think it's like every other day for a couple of games. So, or for a few
Which
games.
is good because the Hurricanes need to get on that rhythm. They just really need to.
And again, it's better, like Griff said over at Phoenix Sessions, it's better than getting stuck in California. I think it was like 3 days before we played a game or something like that, which is idiotic. So last year. So this year it's every other game. We're playing a lot more regularly. Let's get this done. Ferrer's going to head out of town. Hurricanes will come back into town. But I think it's going to be a solid start. I'm expecting good things. I would like to see us win these first 2 because I think they're 2 of the easier battles here.
I agree. I think the hardest one is going to be Edmonton.
Yeah, and Edmonton's a good team. I don't care what their record says. They're a heck of a hockey club. And I want to see what Carolina – I mean, that'll be a great test. I'm looking forward to that game. But I want to see what we can do against St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Those are games you want to win. And one's a divisional game, so you really want to win.
Yes, definitely. You got to win those divisional games. And the last thing that we will touch on, Sam, before we recap the game, I just want to touch on it, but Bally Sports has a new naming rights agreement with sports betting giant FanDuel. So we'll see how that goes. I already heard complaints about Bally Sports already. I don't know if you saw them, Sam, but I've already heard the complaints that it's been glitching. So don't like
Sam, we'll find out tomorrow because we haven't used Bally yet.
No, we haven't.
So we'll
I
see
hope
what
it
happens.
Works. Really hope it works.
I'll have to see. I have YouTube TV. I wonder if it's on there. I don't even know. If so, you might be able to get rid of it. I'll have to look. But
I don't think we can watch it on YouTube TV.
It might not be. For some reason, I thought Bally may have been on YouTube TV, but maybe it used to be and it's not anymore. Nah, who knows? We got Bally Sports Plus, so it doesn't matter. But it's just a matter of we'll see what happens with Bally. I am still in favor of the Hurricanes taking ownership of their streams and doing it themselves. But
I'm surprised they haven't done it already with an owner and Tom Dundon.
They might do it though.
I think they should. Really do. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all the news, including Hurricanes, league-wide stuff. Now we're going to recap the great win against New Jersey. But let's get to a couple of our sponsors. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
What gets me excited about watching hockey is the fast-paced nature of the sport. Woo! Yes, that was Sam Driscoll, our other co-host that you heard. In fact, that is what got me sold when one of the first batch of games I watched was Game 7 between the Hurricanes and the Oilers back in 2006. Now, when it comes to going to Hurricane games, I am able to see quite a few great deals I'd like to go to in the future using the Game Time app. One of its features that I like to use are the seat views because it helps me visualize what I will be seeing when I'm sitting in that particular seat. Another key feature I like is the all-in pricing that shows your total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Well, Sam, it is game time because we're recapping a Hurricanes game. Like what I did there, huh?
Aren't you just happy we're talking about regular season hockey and not preseason still?
Yes, preseason. I'm telling you, preseason. Listen, I am all for them just going 3 or 4 games of preseason. It's just too long, in my opinion. But we already talked about that. So, regular season. Against New Jersey. Out of the gate, I thought Carolina was playing Carolina hockey.
Yeah, I think we needed to play
really
that.
Great.
Yeah, we needed to play that well, and we needed to come in, and we needed to have a solid game. I thought from the beginning our top 2 lines were excellent that night. KK, I think, stepped up. He laid the body a lot. I mean, he took the puck away. He was excellent, and you need him to be excellent this season. He gets a point. I thought Aho had a good game. I thought Svech had a good game. I thought Jarvis had a good game. Necas had a great game too, had a really good pass. Roslovic was probably the worst player on that line, but I thought he still was okay. But yeah, I mean, the players that need to be your best players were, and then of course you got the steady, solid forechecking effort from the Stahl, Carrier, and Martinook line.
Yes, definitely. And one thing I will say that I thought we saw in both games, because, I mean, coming out of that Tampa game, Canes were just flat out terrible. They just were.
Yep.
And it was a bummer because, I mean, I do think part of it is because we haven't lost a home opener in
5 years.
It feels like a decade.
Yeah.
It feels like a decade.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer in of itself, but the fact that we had high hopes against Tampa a little bit, because I did have some high hopes. Like it was a home opener, and we lost Uh, but going into New Jersey, there was more pressure from us, I think, on the Hurricanes, more cautious pressure.
Yep.
And Carolina certainly came up big. And the two things that stuck out for me in both games, I thought the Stall line is a great line, played well
Yep.
both games. I think another thing, too, that happened in both games, I really like the Gossa Spare Walker
Yeah.
pair.
Ghost Walker.
Ghost Walker, yes.
That's
We
the
might
line.
need to call it Ghost Walker.
Oh, that's what I've been hearing everybody calling it is Ghost Walker. So that is a good pair. I would argue that's our second pair.
I think there's a good argument for that. I really do. And I'm not saying that the defense was bad against Tampa because it was mainly a 2-1 game. I mean, you add in the empty net goals, but it was a 2-1 type of game.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that the defense was bad. It's just the offense was not there. The forechecking was not there, and we got to see that against New Jersey. Now, we got frustrated a bit because even though nobody scored in the first period, eventually in the second period, Jack Hughes scores. And that's probably a goal maybe Kochetkov should have had. I think he probably should have had too. I don't like 5-hole goals. I know you're a play goalie. What do you think of that goal?
If you have the stick on, you got to have this one. You got to have your stick on the ice, and two, Kochetkov probably should have dropped, and he didn't. He was standing the whole way. But if you got to have your stick on the ice, and if it goes 5-hole with your stick on the ice, it was probably just that good of a shot. But your stick has to be square on the ice, and if it is, it's not going in. But if you lift up your stick or you're out of position, it's going in. I'm also going to tell you, too, that's Jack Hughes, and I'm going to give him a pass.
Yes, I completely agree. And honestly, I'd say if you do give him the pass because it's Jack Hughes, I think you need to give Anderson somewhat of a pass as well, considering it's Kucherov. Those two are elite players.
Like I said, if you're comparing the two, the Kucherov goal was worse. But again, they're two excellent players, and they scored how they score, right? Jack Hughes in the slot and Kucherov in his one-timing position, where, again, Anderson saw that. I think the big difference between the two is Anderson saw it all the way, and Kochetkov was screened a little. So take it what you will. But, yeah, I wasn't freaking out about either goal when they happened because it's Kucherov. It's Hughes, right? They're going to score. That's why they're good players. That's why they're probably going to be Hall of Fame players when their careers are over.
Exactly. But both goalies after and before those goals were playing excellent. Yeah. They really were. I still think they need to play Kochetkov on Friday, I would say, against St. Louis. Just because, not because Anderson was bad, but because I just think Kochetkov needs it, and it helps your long-term growth with him.
I think Friday is Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right, Pittsburgh. I keep switching the two.
We go east to west, so Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's going to be some trip. Pittsburgh to St. Louis. That's going to be interesting. But I mean, second period, us fans are frustrated just because it's 1-0 New Jersey. Carolina has been hounding New Jersey in their own end with their forecheck, and they're making New Jersey suffocate with their forecheck.
Yeah. I love that. And really the Hishe line was kept in check by Carrier, Stahl, and Martinook. Carolina's forecheck, look, the game was basically 3-2, right? What did we say at the beginning of the season, Sam? That the Hurricanes were going to win and lose games 2-1, 3-2. We got an empty net and made it look like it was a little bit better. It was a 4-2 game. But this is the kind of game Hurricanes are going to win. Basically 1-goal games because the offense is not as good as it was last year. If you want to argue that point, I'm here for it, but I don't think you're going to have an argument for it. It's hard to say you're better when you replace Teravainen and Gensel with Roslovic and Robinson. That's basically what we did. They're not better than those two. They're just not. And if we can go on the forecheck rod system where you and I don't agree that it should be, how it's been for 5 years probably is not successful to get you to a Stanley Cup. It is going to get you to the playoffs. It's going to get you wins, and it's going to wear teams down, right? Because you don't have the skill to play a more skilled hockey game, right? You need to get some more skilled players. I agree with your dad. We were talking about this before the game. The Hurricanes don't have a lot of players who are just elite talent, skilled guys, right? Rod doesn't like those kind of players. He prefers the workhorses, right? Like the Aho, right? Not saying Aho's not skilled, but he's a hardworking player. But sometimes you need a guy who's all about the offense. And Carolina just doesn't have that. Natchez is probably the closest thing we have to
I was
it.
about to say Natchez is, and I'll say somewhat of Svetch.
I like Svetch's
He's not the
defensive
best.
game,
He's not the best defensively if you compare it to the Stalls, the Carriers, the Martinucks.
Well, that's just
But-
not fair. You can't compare defensive
I know.
games to Stahl Martin.
Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. But
Look, I'm not saying
I do
this
agree
team,
with you with Natchez, but Svetch, I mean, you're not going to see him on the penalty kill. You're just not.
But Rod's system showed, right, that we can suffocate and frustrate highly skilled teams. Is that enough to get you to the Stanley Cup Finals? I don't think it is. It hasn't been for 6 years. So, again, if it's broke, you fix it. If it's not broke, you don't. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But when you have a roster like this that's just not as good, right? The forward group is nowhere near as good as it was last time.
Uh-oh.
This system
you broke
requires you. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yep.
All right. So basically, I'm saying the system allows players that aren't as talented to get the most out of them, right? Because it's a heavy forechecking game. And that's what you want to see. Again, that's what you're going to get. 2-1, 3-2. That's the kind of games we're going to get with Rod's system. And we'll get wins. And that's why we both think we're in the playoffs this year, is because of the system will get us there. It just won't get us to the ultimate prize. But I don't think this roster is good enough to get us to the ultimate prize anyway. These games are going to be tough, hard-fought, grind-them-out games. Of course, there'll be blowouts either direction because it happens every season. But don't expect that to be the norm. What we saw against the Devils will be the norm. What we saw against Tampa will be the norm this season. These 2-1, 3-2 hockey games.
Yeah, I agree. But the best of the Hurricanes, their potential is what we saw against New Jersey. So
I hope that's not the best, but if that's a shining light of what we can be, I think we're moving in the right direction.
yes, we are. And let's get to some good news, Sam. We talked a lot about Rod's system there, and we kind of brought ourselves down to earth a bit there. But Seth Jarvis starts the scoring for the Hurricanes and assists from Svechnikov. Again, that was kind of off the forecheck. I mean, Svech was trying to battle for the puck. I believe another Hurricanes player was, but he got it to Jarvis. And while he had some difficulty in that high dangerous slots of trying to shoot it, he eventually battles, finds the shot, and he scores. Great goal from Jarvis. Which is why this jersey works, Sam.
No, but it was a great snipe. It was a great snipe from Jarvis. Ripped it top shelf because Markstrom had been playing really well.
Yeah, he was.
And proof that the Devils really just needed a goalie to be able to compete. And they've proven that. They've had a heck of a start to the season. So you almost needed a shot like that to beat him. And it was perfectly placed, perfect shot, great goal. He gets his first. We're both really high on Seth Jarvis this season to take a big step. And I think he's our best goal scorer, and I loved what we saw.
Yes, definitely. And then toward the very last minute of the second period, Sam, Gostisbehere scores with a great goal.
Yep.
And it's a pass from Natchez and an assist from KK. So it's 2-1. The crowd's rocking, Sam, and we are happy because the Hurricanes are winning. Now, granted, we were up 1-0 against Tampa, so I was a little bit cautious. But like, if we can get another goal, I think we can end it with New Jersey.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. We got another goal. His first goal of the season, the game-winning goal. How often can a young guy say his first NHL goal is a game-winning goal? But a great shot from, I believe it was Orlov, on net, Blake streaking across the goal crease, gets a piece of it, tips it past Markstrom. First National Hockey League goal for Jackson Blake, assisted by Orlov. You love it for the kid.
Oh, yes, you do. I was so happy he scored. Very, very happy. And I mean, I kind of agree with what Brendan Moore said post game. Like, this is not going to be a game that all the players aren't going to remember, but this is a game Jackson Blake's going to remember because your first NHL goal is a huge milestone as a player.
Absolutely. Always is. Always is. You love it for the kid.
And you can tell he enjoyed that goal. And I was happy to see that he enjoyed that goal.
And when they talked to him afterwards, he said, yeah, I kind of blacked out. I really don't remember everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going crazy. He was so happy. And I was so happy for him. I love seeing that. And you know what's even awesome? What's great about it is now we've seen Jackson Blake's. Bradley Nadeau's going to get one soon. Felix Unger-Sorum's going to be up here doing it. Trikazov's probably going to get it. Nikishin's going to do it. We have so many young – Morrow is going to do it. We have so many young, talented players. We're going to play in the National Hockey League and are just going to be – we're going to have so many of these moments coming up, and it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so congrats to Jackson Blake for getting his first NHL goal, and that turned out to be the game winner. We did have so I guess this is where the debate lies. So Sam, obviously New Jersey scores next, but we need to look at the penalties first that led to that goal. You first have Jackson Blake, who's scored his first NHL goal, making a penalty. And honestly, when I first initially saw that penalty, I was like, I don't really see a tripping motion. That was my big argument. I did not see a tripping motion. He just had his arm around his waist.
So, I'm pretty quick to judge the refs, right?
Not this time, are you?
No, I actually didn't have a problem with the call. I thought it was a penalty. If I'm squabbling, I think it was a hold versus the trip. But I thought he committed a penalty. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't. I thought
maybe
it was
a holding.
Guy.
I think holding would have been better.
Holding would have been more appropriate than tripping, but I thought it was a penalty. So I'm also going to try my best to give some leeway to the officials as they start the season too. They're just as rusty as the players.
Yes, and I don't know if you saw, but Brendan Moore was livid after the second penalty, which I do agree that was a penalty. Jordan Martin, he just shoots it. No one in front of him too. Like it was nothing but net and the goalie, and he shoots it far into the New Jersey zone into the net, and I'm just like, why do you do that?
Yeah, that was a clear penalty. Rod was upset because of the first penalty still. He was not upset about that. That's clearly a penalty. And if it wasn't, you can challenge that now too, by the way. So I don't know what to tell you. I didn't have a problem with the call. 5-on-3, they're going to score. So I don't blame the goalie.
They did.
Yeah, and they did. And I don't blame the goalie. I don't blame anybody other than it's a 5-on-3. If you don't score, you have problems. So it was expected.
It's Hishe that scores from Hughes and Brad, and that's just a dynamite first power play unit right there.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys are going to get more goals than they aren't. So,
even though it started out pretty good, Slavin had a great block shot.
Yeah, he did. I was surprised. I wasn't even upset. I was like, this was expected. As soon as we took that second penalty, I was like, oh, they're going to score. It's fine. It's just going to happen. But we held them off. And
it was a sick goal, too, actually, from Hishe.
Yeah, it was a good goal. But we hold them, and then we have a great empty net goal from Sebastian Aho. To seal the deal, give it 4-2, and help me win money.
There you go, Sam. And it's an assist from Slavin and Martinuk. And Hurricanes win 4-2. Thank goodness. And one thing that you and I did talk about after the game is we were surprised that they didn't pull their goalie again after the Aho goal.
Yeah, that surprised me because if you think New Jersey can't score 2 goals in a minute, oh boy, are you wrong. They are a very good
Yeah.
hockey club. So the fact that they didn't pull the goalie again was interesting. Makes me wonder if if maybe their coach saw something and they were like, we're not trying. I'm not going to waste my time.
Well, it is Sheldon Keefe who is the head coach
Yeah.
for New Jersey.
Yeah, so
And we got to
I'm
see
not
the
sure.
return of Nason.
Steph Nason, yeah. And hopefully we'll get Brett Pesce, a welcome home for Brett Pesce at some point too.
Yes, I completely agree. And if we do see him at PNC, I think there's going to be I think there should be at least a tribute video for Brett
There
Pesce
will be.
because he's been a staple for this team.
Yeah, but 100% will be.
Yeah, so great game. I think I even saw Cam Ward was at the game too.
Yep.
He was holding up a check for some giveaway thing.
Yeah, he was. I thought that was cool. And the people next to us won lower level seats.
Really?
Yeah. They won when they showed the people who won like lower level seats. They actually were sitting up with us and they did the raffle giveaway. They were given tickets down in the lower bowl.
I bet they were so excited.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was happy for them. Also meant we got to spread out a little.
Oh yeah, that is nice actually.
Yep.
Another thing too, thing that is cool is that obviously it was first responders night. So we got to see the police and the fire department being honored. I think that's a great night, to be honest.
Yeah.
Despite what you think about police or fire department, whatever. But I believe it was the hero of the game. I can't remember his name, just can't. But my dad said, hey, he was one of my students.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Look, they've done a lot. And if you live in this state, just remember a lot of people in the western part of the state wouldn't be here without those first responders for everything.
Exactly. Especially with what happened with the hurricane.
Yeah. With all they're going through right now, those first responders out there deserve all the recognition and all of the thanks they can get. They're awesome. We thank them for sure. And we keep praying for the people in the western part of the state. And Sam, it's sad what happened over there, but the organization and the fans are doing their best to help out.
Yes, they definitely are. Hurricanes raise a lot of money to help the hurricane relief efforts over in Western North Carolina. But yeah, great win, Sam. Now comes a testing trial period for the Hurricanes in the 16th game road trip. And we will cover both the Pittsburgh and the St. Louis game on Monday's episode. So remember to tune in. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and like the video. It's going to help us out a ton. So we will see you guys Monday.